Brilliant. Thanks, Morgan. Just to get rid of that message. So we're really pleased to see you all here today. This is our third distance learning Q&A webinar. We started running these events last year because following feedback actually and discussion with many of our distance learners who welcome the opportunity to hear more about distance learning and the service and what we offer, and also for you to ask questions as well. We will be using this session to share as much information as we possibly can, and each of my colleagues are going to talk through various aspects. Assessment's obviously hugely important in what you're doing, so that will be a key part of the session today. We also really committed to making sure that we communicate effectively with distance learners, so this is another reason why we kind of set these up. And communication might be something that you want to ask us about later in the session. This session is mainly focused on the NCTJ Diploma in Journalism, but if any of you are studying your NQJ or any CFJ modules, then elements of this will still be relevant. And obviously, if you are studying any of those and you want to ask us any further questions, then you can get in touch after the session. Thanks to everybody who completed the survey ahead of this. That's really helpful to us in terms of bringing together the content that we're going to discuss with you today. And as I say, there will be opportunity to ask questions later in the session. We do want this session to be informative to you, but we also would like to hear what you think. And if there's anything that we can do to improve our service or anything else that you need, then we're open to any suggestions that you might have. So just quickly before I hand over to the NCTJ team, some housekeeping to run through. We expect this session to last around 45 minutes, 60 minutes max. As I've mentioned, we do have a recording, and if you'd like to access that after, then we'll make sure that we will share this, and we'll also share with other distance learners. We would like to ask you to stay on mute, just so it's quite a big group, so it's helpful to us in terms of managing everybody. But please do at any point, please do pop any messages in the chat. And as I say, when we do the questions at the end, you can put them in there. If you don't have any questions, that's absolutely fine. But we do have a few that came through in our survey, so we can cover those off later. Please do feel free to keep your cameras on, by the way, but obviously understand if you prefer not to. And in terms of what's going to happen now is each of our panelists from the NCTJ is going to talk through their key areas. And they'll explain some of the process around their areas as well. This will take about 30 minutes or so, and then the questions will begin. So that's the housekeeping done. So I am joined by Alison Puttock and Emma Richards from our assessments team, Claudia from our product team, and Morgan from the Journalism Skills Academy team today. And I think we're going to start with Claudia, who, as product and platform senior coordinator, you are responsible for the website, aren't you? So you're going to talk a little bit about how people can make the best use of the NCTJ website. So over to you, Claudia.
Thank you. Yes, hello, my name is Claudia and I'm the senior platform and product coordinator at the NCTJ. So basically with the website, this is a very, very good and primary source of information for you with your distance learning. We have made recent changes so learners can navigate information better on our website. This is from following constructive feedback from learners throughout the whole year. So hopefully this will help you with finding everything on the website a little bit easier. So for instance, the new CPD page, we have basically completely changed that. And instead of listing all the courses as one long list on a page, you can now click through to multiple pages in different sections. So this helps to navigate each course a little bit easier. So instead of like scrolling, you can kind of find what section it is in, and then that way you can find your course a little bit easier. And also as well, we have also got essential information, which includes tutor support, exam dates and fees, which we have now moved underneath the qualification and courses section. because we've heard that sometimes navigating the courses with the tutor support was a little bit tricky. So we've kind of taken it out of there and made it easier for everyone to find with just one drop-down menu. Not just for courses, but the website can also be used to learn more about the NCTJ and our work. There's a top tab on top of the website, which has got NCT news and information where we kind of post as and when throughout the week with any updates that you might find interesting. And as well as this, we have got our jobs board page. So once you've finished your courses and you want to take the next step, this is a good way of like looking at for new opportunities within the journalism industry. So they're the three main things that we have, the three main things that are on the website and the changes that we have made, which is hopefully will make it a lot easier for everyone to navigate. However, the website will always be up for review. So if anyone has any suggestions or improvements, then please do let us know, either email us or give us a call basically, and just see if you've got any queries, then we can help you with everything. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, then just please let us know.
Thank you, Claudia. And as Claudia says, if you have any other queries, you can get in touch with us direct, or please do feel free to put them in the chat. So now I'm going to hand over to Morgan, who works in the Journalism Skills Academy team, and Morgan's going to talk about the Journalism Skills Academy e-learning platform, which you will all be using, I'm sure.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Laura. Yes, my name is Morgan, and I am the Events and Training Coordinator here at the NCTJ. So basically, I facilitate all the distance learning orders that come through and try and answer any queries that you guys might have, and I facilitate the tutor requests. All of the distance learning materials can be accessed on the JSA platform, and as a distance learner, you shall have access to this via your My Dashboard area. Alongside your materials, you will also find the results area and a welcome pack, which is essential reading for learners. Information on the tutor support and your student card can be found there. You'll also find your URN number in your profile of the JSA. And this URN number is the password that you will use to log into your Cirrus account, which helps, and Ali will explain a little bit about that. We also have a learner forum. It's called the Diploma Announcements and Support Forum, which was set up so that learners could interact and create a support network for questions and to help each other formally. This isn't we don't monitor this closely by the NCTJ. So just remember, if you're not getting any response there, you can also direct queries to our email at theskillsacademy@nctj.com, and we'll try and get back to you as soon as we're able to. We also use the JSA to make announcements, for example, about this session today. And we're always reviewing the content for our materials to make sure it's as interactive as possible for you guys. For example, we've introduced more video and visual content so that the courses are more engaging, including the recently re-released sports diploma course. Our data journalism module is also a good example of this. So that's it for the JSA platform. Laura?
Thanks, Morgan. And, just with regards to the announcements as well and the notifications, we're sort of conscious that we don't saturate your feed, if you like, but if there's any particular bits of information that you'd like us to share through that channel, then, please do let us know, so that, we can make sure that we're utilising it and making the best use of it. So thank you, Morgan. And now we're going to hand over to Alison and Emma, I think, who are going to talk through all of the information regarding assessments.
Yeah, thanks, Laura, and hi, everybody. So I'm Ali Potek. I'm the assessment manager here at the NCTJ, and I look after our assessment team and all of.
Sorry, Ali, you're a little bit quiet.
Am I? Hang on. A little bit. Is that better? I'm on 100 now. Can you hear me?
Can everyone happy with that? you have to shout, Ali?
So hi everyone, I'm Ali from the assessment team, and I look after all of the assessments here at the NCTJ. Can everyone hear me now?
Try.
Hang on, I have my speaker on top of my head. Is that better?
We've all been there, Ali, don't worry.
Sorry, everyone. Third time lucky. Okay, so I'm Ali Patek from the assessment team here at the NCTJ. I'm the assessment manager. So I'm going to cover about the exams, and then I'm going to pass over to my colleague Emma, who will talk to you all a bit more in detail about them and how you book, etc. So I'm sure you know we offer exams both in centre and remotely. Remote exams were introduced during the pandemic to allow candidates to complete their qualification and not have to wait until restrictions have been lifted. Remote exams are still on offer to all of you as distance learners, but we do appreciate that they're not suitable for everybody. So on the application form that you'll find on our website, you need to detail whether you wish to sit your exam remotely or in centre. If you choose to sit it in centre, then you'll be asked to detail your preferred location, and we'll do our best to place you at a centre as close to that as possible. It's obviously very dependent on if any of our universities, colleges or independent providers who are based up and down the country are running that exam on that date, and if they have capacity to accommodate you, but we'll always work with you on it. So, we'll always keep in touch. There are some requirements of sitting exams remotely. All documentation can be found in your student area, so it's really important that you log in, you read and familiarise yourself with the documentation prior to sitting a remote exam. And if you have any questions or concerns, then you can contact the exams team and we will be able to assist you. But to give you a brief run through, you will need the following. So you'll need access to a secure private room in which to sit your exam to avoid any disruption. Sitting in a library or a communal area is not acceptable. You must have access to a desk or an appropriate space in which to sit your exam, and your device must be less than 10 years old. You must also have a secure, stable internet connection, a working webcam, and a microphone. And finally, 2 gig of free RAM. Otherwise, you are very likely to encounter issues. And it's likely that you'll then be kicked out of your exam and won't be able to continue. So it's really essential that you're, confident that you can do this first and foremost. So Proctorio is the secure monitoring software that we use, and it allows you to sit your exams on the Cirrus platform remotely from home. You'll need to have downloaded the Proctorio extension to Google Chrome on your computer, and it's really important that you do it in plenty of time. Please don't leave it until the day of your exam or the day before, because if there's an issue, then it means that there's not a lot of time to make alternative arrangements. There's nothing stopping you downloading the extension as soon as you book your exam, and my colleague Emma, who will speak to you shortly, will make a Proctorio test available to you in your account so that you can complete the checks. And as I mentioned earlier, all the documentation is available for you to read and download and go through in your JSA account. So during your remote exam on your desk, you're required to stay at your desk at the whole time. You can't go off, you can't leave, etc. And so you need to ensure that you've got everything that you might require throughout at the beginning on your desk prior to starting your checks and accessing the assessment. So you'll need your photographic ID. You'll need a single sheet of blank paper. So we've actually just made some changes to our exams. So if any of you are planning to sit these exams in April for essential media law, court reporting or public affairs, you now won't be allowed to have blank paper on your desk. There's a notebook function in the Cirrus platform. So when you get your samples shortly, you'll be able to practice with this. And it basically just brings up a page on your exam so you can make any notes possible, and they're available for the whole duration of your exam for each question. But for any of the other assessments, then you can have blank paper just to make some notes. You can obviously have pens and pencils, any refreshments you want during the exam, and your mobile phone, which must be placed face down and on aeroplane mode. Otherwise, your desk needs to be clear. So during the portfolio checks, once you're ready to begin, you'll need to log into Cirrus and find the relevant exam on your dashboard. It will have been provided to you by Emma in an email, so make sure you've checked it. Once you click Start, it will run a system diagnostics check. This will check your webcam, your microphone, your internet connection, and your desktop. You must make sure that you've given permission for Google Chrome to access your microphone, etc., in your computer settings and system preferences. You'll then be asked to show your ID and a complete 360-degree room scan, which must include your desk. So we actually need you to physically pick up your laptop or your webcam and spin it round 360 degrees. We need to see everything in your room and a full desk scan, not just a brief area. I want to be able to see everything that's on your desk in case, we've got any queries later on, then it will be referred to. The next page will display an exam agreement, and you'll need to read it thoroughly and agree to it, and then you'll be able to begin your exam. When Emma contacts you prior, she will provide phone numbers to invigilators. So these will be members of the NCTJ team, and we will be on hand during your exam should you encounter any problems. We will also have the function to pause an exam should you get kicked out, and help you with any problems you may have, add any extra time, etc., and then restart you. So it's really, really important that you've made a note of that phone number and you've got it to hand, or you saved it in your phone, etc. So should you get kicked out or have a problem, then you can call us straight away. Okay, so as I said, all of the info is in the JSA area, and Emma will send you all relevant docs prior to this. So I'm now going to pass you over to my colleague Emma to talk about the booking process and results and deferrals, etc. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Ali. Hi, everyone. I'm Emma. I'm the assessment coordinator at the NCTJ, so I look after all of your national exam booking. I also look after the e-portfolio submissions and also the diploma certification. So we have on our website, on our nationals page, our exam timetable, which is available around April every year. So we'll publish the following academic year's exam dates for you. So then this will allow you to plan ahead for your learning time in preparation to sit the exam. And you must ensure you are ready for and able to sit that scheduled exam before booking that in with us. Bookings are open for a set period of time, and it is important that you book these prior to the deadline, as we are unable to accept late bookings. All of these details are advertised on our national exams webpage, and all dates are also available in the JSA for reference. At the point of booking, if you require reasonable adjustment, if you've not done so at that point, it's really important that you complete the reasonable adjustment request form on our website. You will be required to provide supporting documentation, and please remember this needs to allow 14 working days to be processed. So we want to make sure that this is done ahead of even your sample exams to make sure that we're giving you any additional time before providing you with those samples. It's really important to get those into us. We are aware from feedback that distance learners are asking for additional practice exams. Whilst we will provide you with one 4 weeks prior, which you'll be able to have a tutor mark that if you wish, but we're looking to provide additional practice papers to you. So we are looking into this, and we will communicate this shortly of how we're going to support you with this one. So moving on to the e-portfolios, on the JSA, there's an e-portfolio guidelines available to you, and it also has a very handy essential tips document. Most candidates generally submit these towards the end of the diploma, as some elective modules you select may require you to link this to your portfolio. I would also suggest that prior to submitting this, to use your tutor support to go through this for feedback. So should you need to make any improvements prior to your submission, you can action those and hopefully then increase your grade. Submission should not be more than a year old and should be completed in the duration of your course. Another option is also to split your tutor support. So before you even start to do it, maybe book in some tutor time, maybe have a 30-minute session with a tutor to talk about how you can process your portfolios and really get some good information prior to doing that. And then at the end, you can then use the other 30 minutes for them to go through it with you prior to submission. And we found that candidates have really found that really useful. So when you have submitted your portfolio, you'll need to email me to advise me that you have submitted that, and then this will go through the marking and moderation process, and that can take anything between 4 to 6 weeks. I will then notify you when your result is available to you in the JSA. Your exam results, I will notify candidates of the dates of the exam results that will be available to you, and when these are ready, these will be available on the JSA platform in the My Results area by 5 p.m. on that results day. If you achieve a result of a DEF and you want to resit, if you're going for gold standard, A to C, you are able to purchase an exam report via our website, and this will then be sent to the marker, and they will be able to provide you feedback on your exam. So hopefully, if you needed to resit, this will really support you in a way forward to resit that exam. Ali, have I missed anything there?
I don't think so, Emma. I think you've covered everything. But as always, guys, we're at the end of the phone and email. So if you've got any questions regarding your assessments or, anything else, then just give us a call, and we're always here and happy to help.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ali. Thanks, Emma. So now I'm going to hand back to Morgan. You will hopefully will be aware that you have access to tutor support as your part of your distance learning. And Morgan, you're going to explain a little bit more about this process and how you can access that service.
Yes, hello. So yes, as Emma has said, you have tutor support available to you. With the CFJ, if you're a certificate in journalism learner, you have a half hour per module. If you are studying for your diploma, you have an hour per module available to you. Tutor support is free for each module, and it offers support to learners in their studies, particularly in helping with your exam preparation. If your allocation has been used and you want further tutor support, that's fine. You can purchase additional tutor support using the link at the tutor support page that pay for additional tutor support. And it's £30 plus VAT per hour. But that is available to you if you want additional help. Tutor support can be booked via the platform, as I say, and excuse me, you would fill in a form which is sent to us or me, and we'll connect with the appropriate tutor for the module that you're working on. And as Emma also said, you can break this down into smaller portions, use a part of it to have a little chat before you start your course or during or after, but it's the allocation is up to an hour that's included. We have a list of tutors that we work with. They don't work for us, but have their own work. So we have to work around them and their schedules, as they're quite busy people. So it's highly advised that you request your time well in advance of the exams to allow them time to fit you in around their own schedules. And as I say, you can use your allocation, you can purchase additional should you like it. Okay.
Thanks, Morgan. And can you just confirm what, once somebody's actually booked tutor support, how long does it take for it to process?
Sure. Once the request form is sort of sent through to us, we try and respond to it in a day or two at the very latest. We will reply to you with the information so you can reach out to the tutor, and they're generally very good at coming back very quickly to schedule that time in with you. So it's good to have some time sort of that you've got blocked out, that you're ready to pass on some dates to them straight away.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Morgan. So that's kind of that's all of the presentations, if you like, from each of our panelists. So as I say, please do put some questions in the chat. I can't see any at the moment, but we did have some in advance, which I'm just going to run through and ask the team. First of all, is one that's probably for me. Somebody has asked, how do you distance learners access masterclasses and lunch and learns? And just to explain that masterclass, these are virtual training sessions, short virtual training sessions that we hold on Zoom and are accessible accessible to absolutely everybody. So if you want to sort of enhance some of your skills in a particular area, then you can join one of those. The lunch and learns are around about 45 to 60 minutes, and the masterclasses between 2 and 3 hours. Or if you want to learn particular aspects of law, if you want to learn about podcasting, video, AI, obviously a big emerging piece of technology in newsrooms at the moment. We do courses on all of that. So I think we've got in the chat there a link. So if it is something you're interested in, then do browse out the courses we offer on our website, and we'll also continue to use the notifications to ties those further. I can see we've got a question from Anne, so I'm just going to read that. This is about the e-portfolio, Emma, so I don't know if you want to pick this one up. Submissions for the e-portfolio, have they always needed to be a maximum of a year old, or is that a new rule? Emma or Ali?
Do you want me to go? Or you want to go, Emma?
Yeah, go on, that's fine, you can go.
So no, that's not a new rule, Anne. Generally, what we say is you the duration of your course or within the last year. Obviously, if it's slightly over, then there's some flexibility. But obviously, what we don't want, or we're trying to avoid, is people submitting things from many years ago, which are quite outdated. But it's in the portfolio guidelines. But again, any questions about that, just give myself or Emma a call, and we're happy to talk you through it.
Thanks, Ali. And another assessments question from Alistair. Are there any past papers marked examples available aside from the paper given a month before the exam? And also from Alistair, do the e-portfolio pieces need to be published?
So regarding past papers, obviously Emma's just covered that we're looking into providing some more. So at the minute, Emma will provide you with one 4 weeks before. Also, if you look in your learning materials, there's another one. There's a link to a sample, just so you can kind of have a look at it, familiarise yourself. They don't go anywhere and they don't get marked. So obviously, you would need to, if you want to complete it, then you can just type your answers onto a Word document. But we will be in touch shortly regarding any more. And if you wanted to have an exam marked, then that's something you could utilise your tutor support for. So book your time in, and then we can allocate it to a relevant tutor who could then go through it with you. And regarding the e-portfolio, yes, it does need to be published. So in your e-portfolio, you will provide your original copy and your final copy. Now, obviously, many people aren't working journalists. We appreciate that. Generally, it's candidates on course, etc., or you guys that are distance learners. So you can self-publish to a blog, so I think you've just said your own website. That's fine. As long as it's published and you can provide the original and the final copy, then that meets the criteria. Okay, I hope that answers everything for you, Alistair.
Thanks, Ali. And I think around the e-portfolio, actually, we could add maybe more to the website, Claudia, on that to make that a bit clearer, particularly around the self-published element of that. So thanks for raising that. Stephen, thanks for your question. How important is shorthand in today's journalism? Can we realistically skip it in favour of other modules? Shall I pick that one up? Up until about a year ago, I was in regional journalism for 20 years. I actually have my shorthand. 20 years ago, obviously, it was seen as very extremely important, Stephen, and so I am obviously a champion of it. I think realistically, many media organisations don't require it, but my view is that it will set you apart from the rest. And if you don't have shorthand, it does restrict you in terms of what you can and can't do. So if you wish to pursue a career as a news reporter or an investigations reporter, if you don't have your shorthand, it is restrictive in some ways. Covering courts, for example, shorthand is really important, to do that. And I do know, anecdotally, I hear from people in industry who talk about how not having reporters with shorthand is difficult, is quite challenging. But as I say, many organisations don't require it, so it's entirely up to you in terms of your ambitions. And I think I would just suggest doing some research depending on what you'd like to achieve in terms of what the expectations are. In terms of skipping it in favour of the modules, obviously for the diploma you don't need, it's not mandatory anymore, so you can choose other modules to gain the credits, you know, to get the full diploma. Does anyone else have anything to add on that?
I think you covered it perfectly, Laura.
But I'm an advocate for it. There aren't any other questions in the chat, so I'm just going to return to what we were asked before. One question that came up is, do we need work experience to complete the e-portfolio? Emma or Ali?
Sorry. So it is advised, but it isn't compulsory for you to do the work experience. But if you wish to find it and do that work experience, then obviously it is good for you to do that and complete the forms within the portfolio, but it isn't compulsory.
Thanks, Emma. And another question for assessments. Someone has said, I can only see one date listed for the Practical Magazine journalism exam day. Is there one? Is there just one, or is there other? Will there be others announced?
So there will be others, but currently, as it's a new module for distance learners, there's only a very small handful of people that have purchased this module. So this will only be the second live day we've run. Obviously, get in touch with us and let us know your interest and availability. And Emma will be looking to arrange another one, probably in the summer, I would have thought, kind of maybe June, July time. But obviously, until we know how many of you are wanting to do it, we haven't put anything else on just yet. So yeah, drop Emma a note and we can get something in the diary.
Thanks, Ali. And another question, somebody said that they've got quite a few commitments, work freelance full time, all sorts of live commitments. And she says, I know ideally the course should be completed in 2 years. Is that a rule or a guideline? And I think it's fair to say that we recommend that you complete within 18 to 24 months. But obviously, the purpose of distance learning gives you that flexibility to work it around your commitment. So if it does take longer, you know, that's fine. However, it's just worth bearing in mind that there might be changes to the course, to the learning materials and various other things. I mean, Ali, obviously we switched, didn't we, completely recently from level 3 to level 5, and that actually impacted people who had spent a long time, who hadn't actually completed their diploma from years previously. So I don't know if you want to explain a little bit more about, you know, just in terms of, you know, how things can change.
Yeah, so obviously, as Laura said, you know, it is a recommendation. It isn't compulsory. Obviously, it's a fast-paced industry. Things are changing all the time. So, you know, if you don't complete within 2 years, generally it's not that much of a problem, but you just need to keep an eye out for any changes because, as Laura said recently, the level 3 is now been withdrawn from the qualifications register, and it's now a level 5. We had a 3-year transition period. Obviously, some people still hadn't completed within, you know, that 3 years and some, so then it will impact you. So always keep an eye out on the website for any changes. And if you're thinking it's going to take longer than anticipated, just get in touch and make sure that there's no kind of changes that are being planned. Okay.
Thanks, Ali. And we've had another question from Alistair. Can I tweet a whole e-portfolio submission, or is it best to choose a more standard format for grade-wise?
Yeah, I don't think that is recommended, Alistair. I would actually need to check with my colleague, but I think you're better off doing it in a different format to that. But we will take I'm going to write your name down now. I'm going to come back to you on that if that's okay.
Thanks, Ali. I think that's most of our questions answered now. So if anyone, we have got a few minutes, so if anybody does have anything, please do just pop them in. Just one thing I wanted to sort of finish on is that a few people asked about what communication we provide to distance learners. So just to give you a summary of everything that we do, as I say, we started these sessions last year to help improve our communication, and we intend to run 2 or 3 a year, so that will continue. We also have a distance learning newsletter, which you should all be receiving. If you're not receiving that newsletter, then just do send us an email at skillsacademy@nctj.com. So Morgan or Claudia, if you wouldn't mind putting that email in the chat if you haven't already, then just get in touch with us if you're not receiving that. We also have the notifications as well, which I say we're kind of using as much as we can. And please do get in touch with us at any time, whether it's for you know, the assessments team or for the Skills Academy. You know, you've got our email addresses. Do give us a call, and we're happy to help where we can. I can see there's some questions dropping through, so I'm just quickly going to go through them. Bear with me a second. Question from Charles. Quick question for Ali on e-portfolios. What is the difference between the original and final copy that needs to be submitted?
So obviously you'll upload your original copy, and then you generally provide a link to the published piece, so the marker will be able to see any edits that have been made, etc. And obviously if it's the same, generally there's always edits made before it's published, but if there's not, then you just need to detail that on your cover sheet for that particular submission. Okay.
Thanks, Ali. And Ellie asked if we could run through the shorthand exam process, including how much time is given for the whole exam.
Yeah, of course. So, hi, Ellie. Basically, it works similarly to the nationals that Emma ran through. I think we offer them 3 or 4 times a year, and you just need to go onto the website and you can find the dates and then book yourself on. The exam will actually be monitored to begin with on Zoom. So you will join a Zoom room like this. You'll have a live invigilator, and they will go through all of the procedures with you. These are actually all available to you in your JSA account as well. So I'd advise that you go and have a look. But the invigilator will run through everything. They will go through kind of what you can and can't do. They will ask you to check your ID. They will play a couple of warm-up passages for you. And then they will play the live audio. So obviously at that point, that's when you will note down your shorthand in pen. At the end of the audio, you'll be asked to stop writing, and you then have to take a photograph on your mobile phone and email it over to the invigilator. Once the invigilator's got your photograph and they've checked that it's readable, they've got all of the right pages, etc., you will be allowed to leave the Zoom room and log into the Cirrus platform, where you will then transcribe your shorthand. You have 10 minutes to log into the Cirrus platform and complete the Proctorio checks. So it's really important, if you're struggling, that you drop your invigilator a call and let them know. But then you'll be able to log in and transcribe your shorthand notes. And then once you've finished, just submit it and it will go for marking. So depending on the speed of the exam, obviously the timings are different. But again, it's all in your JSA area. So have a quick look when you get off of this call. And if you've got any questions, just give us a call and we can go through it with you. But that's kind of a brief overview on how they run. Okay.
Thanks, Ali. So we've had a couple of questions that are quite similar. John has asked that he's currently completing the diploma in journalism that was started at university and now finishing through modules through the employer. Do I need to finish this in a certain time period? I guess it depends when this started. And I would say that because we've got a couple of people talking about their individual cases, I would suggest getting in touch with Morgan at the Skills Academy, and we can look into what you've done, where you started, and what the options are available to you. Generally, it is okay, but let's just look into your cases individually. So do get in touch with the Skills Academy email, which Claudia has popped in the chat there. Alistair has asked, how does a diploma compare with a bachelor's in terms of employability? I'm happy to pick that one up. And just to say that just in terms of the NCTJ diploma in journalism, it's recognised by the industry in the UK. So it puts you in a much better position to actually gain employment. And some media organisations will not even consider you unless you've got the NCTJ, because it sort of sets that standard in terms of what a journalist is expected to be able to do when they go into an employment. And I can say this because I used to be an industry employer, and you know, if you've got an NCTJ, you know, it's what you're looking for, essentially. We've also had a question from Charles about the appendix exercise, and actually I think this came through on the survey as well. Do the appendix exercises in courses contribute to the final grade, or are they just practice? Ali, do you know?
Yeah, they don't contribute to anything, Charles. They're your learning materials, basically. So they're there to for you to work through and to you know, get some kind of practice in. For essential journalism, it's just the assessment that contributes to your grade. So it's out of a mark of 200, and then obviously it's divided by half to give you a percent, and it will be an A to F grade. So anything in your learning materials, well, for any module, will not contribute to the assessment. Okay, and if you have a look at the programme of study, which is also in your JSA account under each relevant module, it will tell you how it's assessed and what actually makes up the final grade. Just if anyone's unsure, it is detailed in there for you. Okay.
Thanks, Ali. And I think we've got our final question from Stephen. Grade-wise, is there a good length for self-published articles on a blog / website? For example, should articles be at least 1,500 words with original photos and several interviews, or can they be much shorter, like tweets?
So you will need to look at each of the criteria, basically, for each submission, because there might be different word counts for different submissions. So I'd always look at each individual one and see what guidelines it offers. And if you've got any questions or concerns, then you can speak to myself or Emma, or you can also utilise your tutor support. So if you've got any concerns about your e-portfolio, then I would actually recommend maybe booking 30 minutes of support before you start, just to have a chat with a tutor. And then, you know, once you've made a start, you can then utilise that additional 30 minutes at a later date.
Thanks, Ali. I can see that Alistair's commented that there isn't much information on the website, so we'll have a look at that, Alistair, and see if we can improve it.
So just on that note, Laura, it's actually on the e-portfolio site. I'm not sure whether you've got access to it yet, Alistair, but if you have a look on the e-portfolio site, there's kind of guidelines for you, all of the criteria is there, the marking guidance, etc., top tips, which is really, really useful. So I'd definitely log into the e-portfolio site if you've got access and have a look at everything.
Yeah, thanks, Ali. And Alistair, yeah, absolutely. We will look at providing more information on the website. We'll review it as soon as we can. So thank you for that feedback. So thanks, everybody. Thanks very much to the panel for taking part today. We will, in terms of what happens next, we will be, for everybody that registered for this session, because I kind of understand that the day-to-day gets in the way and some people couldn't make it, we will be sending a communication after, which will include this recording, any other essential bits of information to you all, and also a feedback form. We'd be really grateful if you could fill that out for us. It only takes a few moments, but it helps us in terms of how we, you know, do these events in future. Before you go, I just want to mention as well, for those that are working journalists, we currently are doing some research on journalists at work. You should have received notification about this in the distance learner notification. And it is a survey, and we're trying to collect as many as possible from working journalists across the industry. So if you do get the opportunity, please do take a look at that and fill it in, and we will share it in our communication after this session. So thanks to Morgan, Claudia, Ali and Emma. Thanks to you all, and yeah, I hope to see you all again soon. Take care.
Thanks, Laura.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.